So should real estate be a part of an overall wealth management strategy? Well, depending on the situation, absolutely yes. I mean, real estate is a wonderful wealth building tool. One, it is non-correlated to the market. Two, it's been proven to be a great inflation hedge over the years. Three, it's probably one of the few select places where investors can get yield, passive income, particularly in today's current environment. And four, it's a tangible asset, so you can actually see it, you can touch it in many cases. But just like any particular asset that is in an overall strategy, it needs to be positioned correctly. So it, in many cases, has a lack of liquidity. In many cases, has this idiosyncratic risk. And so that means that there is a limit to how much it should be incorporated as an overall portfolio. But in summary, we absolutely believe it's a great wealth building tool. We've even created an entire division dedicated to connecting accredited and qualified investors to private real estate to incorporate that as an overall asset class in their portfolio. Well, it depends on the real estate. So there's lots of ways to expose yourself to real estate. You can get access through what's called a REIT, a real estate investment trust, or you can use a mutual fund where you get a basket, but you don't really know, they're almost blind pools. You really don't know the properties that you're buying. You can also go to the other extreme and say, hey, I want to buy a single family rental home or a duplex. And then you've got this area in the middle where it's commercial real estate. You're maybe part of a group that is buying it, so it's not just you as a single owner. And so there's lots of different ways to get exposure. I would say the biggest aspect that we see is lack of that liquidity, meaning if I put money into a bank account or I put money into an investment account, typically I've got the ability to withdraw money out if I need that. When I buy real estate, I've got to sell that asset, and I've got to assume that it can be sold quickly, and usually you can't assume that. So that would be one balance. The other balance is just overall portfolio net worth. Again, depending on the type of investment that you're doing, you have to be an accredited investor. You have to have so many assets to where it makes sense to invest in real estate. But the nice part is there's lots of ways to get exposure to it, really of all kind of net worths and different income levels, et cetera. So I think they are because they don't, they're adverse because they maybe don't understand it. Maybe they're a little nervous, which typically it results from a lack of understanding or a lack of comfort in what that asset looks like. I think a lot of times it's just a lack of education and knowing how to acquire some real estate. We see a commercial building and we don't know how we're going to do that. We don't want to take on this huge debt load just to buy a commercial building. Or we buy a single family home that's more affordable, but it needs a lot of fixing up to do and they're not very handy. They see investment options, maybe part of their 401ks or other things where they can buy these mutual funds, these basket of unknown real estate assets, and they're not aware of what that looks like. And as a result, that fear or that unawareness doesn't allow them to continue to explore it or acquire it. So people will look at real estate and sometimes it's purely seen as an investment. Sometimes it's seen as an investment, but also the utility of it. In other words, I buy a vacation home and I really love this area. It's warm, I want to go there in the winter, but when I'm not there, maybe I want to rent it out. And so that creates investment income. Maybe it also helps to pay for that particular asset. Others say, I don't care, I'm going to buy a warehouse in the middle of nowhere because it's just a great investment. It produces income. I'm not really going to go stay there. I'm not even really using it. I'm not storing anything there. Big companies are. So it really just depends on what you're looking, just like anything. What are you looking for in that particular asset? What do you want that asset to do for you? Real estate's really unique because, again, you can see it and view it through the lens of just a pure investment, or you can see it through the lens of creating joy and fun and utility in your life. Either way, it's still an asset that you hope will appreciate in value over a period of time.